Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. They thought Earth was easy until they stepped foot on it. A mistake in landing the Zephyr-class exploration vessel Celestial Wanderer glided silently through the void, its quantum engines humming with the soft resonance that had lulled Commander Lyra Voss asleep too many times during her 30-cycle career. She floated near the command console, her translucent azure skin reflecting the holographic displays that surrounded her. Four slender arms manipulated the ship's controls with practiced precision. "Navigation check complete," announced Technician Orin, his ocular ridges furrowing as he studied his display. "All systems nominal." "Excellent," Lyra responded. "Maintain course for the Andromeda relay station. We should reach it within." A violent shudder ran through the ship, throwing Lyra against the bulkhead. Warning lights flashed as the emergency systems engaged. "Status report," she demanded, pulling herself back to her station. "Quantum field collapse," Orin's voice was tight with panic. "The navigational array has suffered catastrophic failure. We're being pulled into a local gravity well." Science Officer Terrace, the oldest and most experienced crew member besides Lyra, quickly assessed the situation. "Commander, we're on a collision course with the third planet of this system. Impact in approximately 20 minutes. "Options?" Lyra demanded, keeping her voice steady despite the fear gripping her core. "We can attempt an emergency landing," Terra suggested. "Our database indicates this is a pre-spaceflight civilization, minimal technological development, mostly harmless." "When was this data collected?" Lyra asked, already initiating landing protocols. "Approximately 300 cycles ago, standard survey mission." Lyra hesitated for only a moment. "Prepare for emergency landing procedures. Security Officer Kale, ready the defense systems but keep them powered down. This is a peaceful expedition, and we will maintain galactic protocol even in emergency situations." The Celestial Wanderer bucked and shuddered as it entered Earth's atmosphere, its heat shields glowing orange as they absorbed the tremendous energy of their descent. Warning alarms blared throughout the ship. "Find us somewhere remote," Lyra ordered. "Minimal chance of detection." "There's a small clearing in a forested region," Orin reported. "Northern Hemisphere temperate climate appears uninhabited." "Take us down." The ship's landing was anything but gentle. It plowed into the forest clearing, toppling several trees before grinding to a halt. For several moments, silence filled the command center as the crew recovered from the impact. "Damage report," Lyra finally said, wiping azure blood from a small cut on her forehead. "Navigation system completely inoperable," Orin replied grimly. "Quantum drive stable but offline. Life support functioning at 87% capacity." "Can we repair it?" "Possibly, but we'll need to fabricate several components. I estimate 2 local rotations minimum." Lyra nodded. "Security status?" Kale checked his systems. "No immediate threats detected. However, our sensors have limited range while we're grounded." "Terrace, what can you tell me about this world?" The science officer consulted his databanks. "Planet designation, Earth. Dominant species, humans. Bipedal mammals, relatively short-lived tribal societies with rudimentary technology. Largely superstitious. They haven't even discovered atomic energy yet, according to our last survey." "All right," Lyra decided. "Kale and I will perform an exterior assessment. Orin, begin repairs immediately. Terrace, monitor for any local activity. Keep communications to a minimum." The air outside was cool and rich with unfamiliar scents. Decaying vegetation, animal musk, and something acid that Lyra couldn't identify. The forest stretched around them, dark and imposing in the fading light of day. "Atmosphere is breathable as expected," Kale confirmed, checking his environmental scanner. "No immediate biological hazards." Lyra circled the ship, assessing the damage. "The hull integrity is compromised in 3 locations. We'll need 2. She froze as a beam of light cut through the darkness, followed by another, then several more. The beams danced across the clearing before settling on the alien visitors. "Don't move," a voice commanded in an unfamiliar language that their universal translators struggled to process. "Hands where I can see them." 4 humans emerged from the trees, dressed in matching dark clothing. Each carried a small black device that Lyra's instincts immediately recognized as weapons, despite never having encountered their like before. "Kale, remain calm," Lyra whispered. "No sudden movements." One of the humans spoke into a small device. "Command, this is Recon Team Alpha. We've made contact with something not from around here, requesting immediate backup and containment protocols." Lyra raised her upper arm slowly in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "We mean no harm. Our ship was damaged. We seek only to repair it and leave." The humans exchanged glances, clearly surprised that they could understand her. "You speak English?" one asked. "Universal translator," Lyra explained. "We are peaceful explorers from—" The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of more humans, these in different clothing. Their vehicles roared into the clearing, bright lights mounted on them, and within minutes, the celestial wanderer was surrounded. Back inside the ship, Terrace was frantically updating his database. "Commander, you need to see this," he transmitted to Lyra's communicator. "I've intercepted their information network. These humans, they're not what our records indicated." On the screen, images flashed in rapid succession. Massive cities illuminated by artificial light, vehicles traveling at high speeds, flying machines that resembled primitive spacecraft, vast networks of energy distribution, and most alarmingly, weapons of mass destruction. "This is impossible," Orin whispered. "They were using stone tools and primitive agriculture just 300 cycles ago." "Their development rate is unprecedented," Terrace agreed. "They've compressed thousands of cycles of technological advancement into just a few centuries." Outside, more military vehicles arrived. Lyra and Kale were escorted back to their ship at gunpoint with a clear message: stay inside or be considered hostile. Within the relative safety of the Celestial Wanderer, Lyra called an emergency meeting. "We've made a terrible mistake," she said grimly. "Our information is catastrophically outdated. These humans aren't primitive at all. They are on the verge of becoming a space-faring civilization, and they're heavily militarized." "Can we accelerate the repairs?" she asked Orin. "Not significantly. The quantum resonator is completely burned out. We'll need to fabricate a new one, and our materials are limited." "Commander," Terrace interjected, "there's something else you should know. I've analyzed their global communications. They're frightened of us. Their entertainment media is filled with scenarios where beings from other worlds arrive to conquer them. They're expecting an invasion, and we just confirmed their worst fears by crashing in their backyard." Lyra realized with dawning horror. On the holographic display, they watched as more human military units arrived. Heavy weapons were being positioned around the clearing. Barriers were being erected. Communication equipment was being assembled. "They're preparing for war," Kale observed. "No," Lyra corrected quietly. "They're preparing for what they believe is an alien invasion, and from their perspective, that's exactly what we are." A human in what appeared to be a position of authority approached the ship with a communication device. "This is Colonel Maxwell Harrison of the United States Strategic Response Division. You have entered our airspace without authorization and landed on sovereign territory. We demand immediate communication and explanation of your presence, or we will be forced to consider your actions hostile." Lyra exchanged glances with her crew. "We need to buy time," she said. "Orin, continue the repairs as quickly as possible. Terrace, I need everything you can learn about these humans, their social structures, communication protocols, anything that might help us navigate this situation peacefully. Kale, assess our defensive capabilities, but remember, we are not here to fight." She activated the external communication system. "Colonel Harrison, I am Commander Lyra Voss of the exploration vessel Celestial Wanderer. We come in peace. Our navigation system failed, forcing an emergency landing. We seek only to repair our ship and depart without incident." There was a long pause before the response came. We'll need verification of your peaceful intentions. We propose a face-to-face meeting with our representatives. That might be unwise, Kale warned. We've already seen how they reacted to our appearance. Lyra considered their options, which were rapidly dwindling. We may not have a choice. Their weapons appear primitive compared to galactic standards, but in sufficient numbers they could breach our hull, and we're in no condition to attempt takeoff. Commander, Terrace called urgently, I've detected a concentrated energy buildup in one of their devices. They appear to be charging some kind of electromagnetic pulse weapon. They're going to disable us, Orin realized in horror. Contact Colonel Harrison immediately, Lyra ordered. Tell him we agree to a meeting. The tension in the air was palpable as Lyra prepared to exit the ship. She had chosen to go alone, despite Kale's strenuous objections. If this goes poorly, she told her crew, initiate emergency protocols. The mission data must reach the Galactic Council, especially our findings about this species. They've been severely underestimated. As the ship's hatch opened and the ramp extended, Lyra stood framed in the doorway, her azure skin gleaming in the harsh spotlights trained on the ship. She took a deep breath of Earth's alien air and stepped forward to meet humanity's representatives, acutely aware that this might be the first, and possibly last, official contact between their civilizations. Behind her, Orin worked frantically on repairs, racing against time and a growing human military presence. Terrace continued to absorb and analyze the flood of information from Earth's digital networks, his understanding of humanity expanding exponentially with each passing minute. And Kale stood ready at the ship's defensive systems, praying to the void that he wouldn't need to use them. None of them had expected to make first contact with a new species today, and none of them had anticipated just how drastically they had underestimated humanity. Unexpected allies. Dr. Alina Ray had been pulled from her bed at 3:00 a.m. with a phone call she initially thought was a prank. 4 hours later, standing in a hastily assembled command tent surrounded by military personnel, watching video footage of an actual alien spacecraft, she still couldn't quite believe it was real. "You want me to do what?" she asked, turning to Colonel Harrison. "Talk to it," Harrison replied bluntly. "You're one of our leading xenobiologists. You've written papers about potential communication with extraterrestrial life. Here's your chance to put theory into practice." "Those were theoretical frameworks," Alina protested. "I never expected." "None of us expected this," Harrison cut her off. "But here we are. That thing claims its landing was an accident, but I've got orders from the highest levels to determine if they represent a threat. I need someone who can think like them." Alina studied the monitor showing the alien standing at the base of the ship's ramp. Slender, with 4 arms and blue translucent skin, nothing like the typical gray aliens of popular culture. It looked vulnerable. "What if they're telling the truth?" she asked quietly. Harrison's expression hardened. "Then they have nothing to worry about, but my job is to prepare for the worst-case scenario. Admiral Chen's carrier group is already being positioned offshore. The President has authorized the use of tactical nuclear options if necessary." Alina felt a chill run through her. Nuclear weapons against visitors who might just need a mechanic. "Against potential invaders whose technology we don't understand," Harrison corrected. "Now, are you going to help us, Dr. Ray, or should I find someone else?" 20 minutes later, Alina approached the alien spacecraft, accompanied by 2 armed soldiers who stopped 10 meters back. Her heart hammered in her chest, but professional curiosity overrode her fear. "Hello," she called, stopping at what she hoped was a respectful distance. "I'm Dr. Alina Ray, xenobiologist. I asked to speak with you." The alien moved forward with a fluid grace. Up close, Alina could see that its skin wasn't merely blue. It pulsed with subtle bioluminescence, patterns flowing across its surface like living circuitry. "I am Commander Lyra Voss," the alien responded in perfect English, though its mouth didn't move in sync with the words, some kind of translation technology, Alina guessed. "Thank you for meeting with me, Dr. Ray." "Your English is impressive," Alina remarked, falling back on professional observation to steady her nerves. Universal translator, Lyra explained. Standard equipment for exploration vessels. Dr. Ray, I must emphasize that our presence here is accidental. Our navigation system failed. We are not invaders or colonizers. I believe you, Elena said, and was surprised to realize she genuinely did. But many of my colleagues are concerned. Your arrival has triggered some deep-seated anxieties in our culture. Yes, we've observed this in your media networks, Lyra nodded. Your species has an unusual preoccupation with invasion scenarios. Elena couldn't help but smile. We do tend to expect the worst. It's a survival trait. One that has served you well, it seems, Lyra acknowledged. Your technological development is remarkable. Our records indicated a pre-industrial society. We were unprepared for what we found. How old is your information about Earth? Approximately 300 of your years. Elena's eyes widened. 300. You missed the Industrial Revolution, both world wars, the digital age, everything. We've noticed, Lyra said with what might have been dry humor. Your species advances at an unprecedented rate. It's concerning, to be honest. Concerning why? Lyra seemed to choose her words carefully. Most species follow predictable development patterns. Yours doesn't. You've achieved in centuries what takes others millennia. Before Elena could respond, her earpiece crackled. Dr. Ray, this is Harrison. Ask about their weapons capabilities and if there are more of them coming. Elena hesitated, then decided on honesty. Commander Voss, my military colleagues want to know about your weapons and if there are more ships on the way. We are an exploration vessel, Lyra answered. We carry defensive capabilities only, and no, there are no others. The Galactic Council is not aware of our situation yet. Galactic Council. Elena couldn't hide her excitement at the confirmation of other intelligent life. A cooperative of spacefaring civilizations, Lyra explained. Earth is in an unregistered system outside Council space. Ask about their repair needs, came a new voice in Elena's earpiece. Dr. Alan Chen, a quantum physicist who had arrived an hour ago. What do you need to repair your ship? Elena asked. Our quantum resonator was destroyed during the navigation failure. We're attempting to fabricate a replacement, but our materials are limited. We require certain elements that may be difficult to synthesize with our remaining equipment. In the command tent, Dr. Chen leaned forward. A quantum resonator. That sounds like it might be similar to the experimental quantum entanglement device we've been developing at Berkeley. Harrison frowned. You're not seriously suggesting we help them leave. I'm suggesting we consider all options, Chen replied. If they wanted to attack, why make up this elaborate story? Why not just start shooting? They clearly have technology far beyond ours. Back at the ship, Elena was building rapport with Lyra, scientist to scientist. Commander, would it be possible for some of our scientists to observe your repairs? We might be able to help, and it would go a long way toward building trust. Lyra considered this. It would be unprecedented, but these are unprecedented circumstances. I will consult with my crew. As Lyra returned to her ship, Elena walked back to the command tent, her mind racing with possibilities. This could be humanity's greatest opportunity, or its greatest threat. Well, Harrison demanded as she entered. I believe they're telling the truth, Elena stated firmly. They're explorers who got lost and crashed. They're trying to repair their ship and leave. And if you're wrong, Harrison challenged. Dr. Chen intervened. Colonel, if they wanted to conquer Earth, they would have brought more than a single damaged ship with 4 crew members. Unless they're scouts, Harrison countered. Then helping them leave quickly would be in our best interest, Elena pointed out. The longer they stay, the more they learn about us. After hours of tense negotiation, a compromise was reached. Dr. Chen and a small team of scientists would be allowed to observe the repairs and offer assistance under military supervision. In return, the aliens would share limited information about their propulsion technology, nothing weapons-related, but enough to advance Earth's scientific understanding by decades. When Alina relayed this proposal to Lyra, the alien commander seemed relieved. This is acceptable. Our engineer Orin will coordinate with your scientists. The next 36 hours were a flurry of activity. The military maintained its perimeter, but inside the ship, an unprecedented collaboration was taking place. Human and alien scientists worked side by side, overcoming language barriers and vastly different technological paradigms. Their understanding of quantum mechanics makes ours look like kindergarten physics, Dr. Chen told Alina during a brief break. But they're impressed by our adaptive problem solving. Apparently, most species are more methodical in their approach. Meaning slower, Alina translated with a smile. Exactly. We're the cosmic equivalent of MacGyver, patching things together with duct tape and paper clips while they carefully consult the manual. This creative tension proved unexpectedly productive. When Orin explained that they couldn't synthesize a crucial element for the quantum resonator, Dr. Chen suggested a workaround using modified components from Berkeley's experimental quantum computer. It wasn't elegant, but it would work long enough for the aliens to reach their nearest outpost. Your solution is unorthodox, Orin told Chen, but effective. This characteristic seems common among humans. We call it thinking outside the box, Chen replied proudly. Outside the scientific bubble, tensions remained high. Admiral Chen's carrier group had arrived offshore. Multiple countries were demanding information about the meteor crash. Social media was ablaze with rumors and conspiracy theories. Inside the command tent, Alina made her case to Harrison and the newly arrived government officials. They've been completely cooperative. They've shown us technologies beyond our imagining. This could be the beginning of a valuable relationship. Or they could be showing us exactly what they want us to see, countered a stern-faced woman from National Security. The debate was interrupted when one of the monitors showed a sudden flurry of activity around the ship. The repair team was exiting, and Lyra stood at the ramp, waiting. "What's happening?" Harrison demanded. "I believe they're ready to leave," Alina replied, already heading for the door. Outside, Lyra was addressing the assembled humans. "The repairs are complete, thanks to your assistance. We can now return to our outpost and report this contact to the Galactic Council." "What will you tell them about us?" Alina asked, aware that this report could shape humanity's future relations with extraterrestrial civilizations. Lyra's skin pulsed with patterns that Alina had learned indicated thoughtfulness. "I will report that we encountered a young, technologically advancing species with remarkable adaptive capabilities and unexpected collaborative tendencies. I will recommend that the Council consider Earth for future diplomatic contact." Harrison stepped forward. "And what will that mean for us?" "It means you would no longer be alone in the cosmos," Lyra replied simply. "The choice to engage or remain isolated would be yours." As the aliens prepared for departure, Lyra took Alina aside. "Your assistance was crucial, Dr. Ray. You bridged our worlds when conflict seemed inevitable." "We're not so different," Alina suggested. "Both explorers, both curious about the universe." "Perhaps," Lyra agreed, "but your species possesses something rare, a creative chaos that drives innovation at remarkable speeds. It makes you unpredictable, sometimes frightening, but also fascinating." "Will we see you again?" Alina asked. "That depends on your leaders and on the Council's decision, but I would welcome it." Lyra extended one of her 4 hands, having learned the human custom. Alina took it, feeling the cool, smooth texture of alien skin against her own. "Safe travels, Commander." The ship's departure was far more graceful than its arrival. It rose vertically, almost silently, until it was a mere point of light among the stars. Then, with a flash that momentarily turned night to day, it was gone. In the aftermath, Alina found herself appointed as the head of a new international organization dedicated to preparing humanity for potential future contact. Military forces remained vigilant, but the collaborative spirit that had emerged during the repairs inspired a new approach. 6 months later, as Alina was reviewing satellite data in her new office, an assistant rushed in. Dr. Ray, we're detecting an anomaly at the edge of the solar system. Multiple objects approaching on a controlled trajectory. Elena looked up at the screen, a smile forming. Send a message to all member nations. Tell them our friends are coming back. And this time they'd brought company. This time, Earth would be ready for visitors, not with weapons poised, but with questions, curiosity, and a newfound confidence in humanity's place among the stars.